Yeah, I can't make this move. Oh, can you hear me? Okay. My name is Wallace Bohannon, U.S. Army, 1964 to 1967. I went in the Army early, volunteered right out of high school. My goal was to avoid the Vietnam War, which I saw coming down the pike. I'm gonna get in here early, get out, and I'll be fine. Well, 2 years in Germany, I'm a personnel specialist, battalion headquarters, keeping records. Life is great. Made E4. And then I got transferred. I asked for a transfer back to the United States. And they sent me back to the United States, and I was like, whoa, baby. 1 year in the United States, and I'll be out of here. Woo-hee. NCO. Well, took a taxi from where I was coming from when I dropped into Fort Sill. It took me way to the end of the base, the World War II barracks. Checked in, nobody was there but personnel specialists. They said, oh, you came across the big pond. I said, yeah. He said, well, you're going across a bigger one. I said, what? Yeah, Pacific Ocean. We're going to Vietnam. The whole unit's going to Vietnam. So, needless to say, I had an attitude, which carried me to Vietnam. And before I left, they had to promote me to PFC. Lost my personnel job, ended up on the artillery gun, pumping 150 pound, 170 pound rounds, putting them down range. But I made it out. This is my story, finally home. We enthusiastically piled into the taxis, waiting to take us to Seattle's airport. We were newly certified ex-GIs in dress greens, with duffel bags and travel vouchers in hand. I was Brooklyn bound after a long year of service to my country in Vietnam. Words from the song, bought me a ticket to an airplane. Ain't got time to catch a fast train. Infused my mind. I was going home. I was joyfully looking forward to going home. But then I thought back to when I was on a fire base and longing to be where I'm headed now. On that fire base, we were 2.5 months into a 1-month rotation on the DMZ. The hot, dusty fire base was taking incoming mortar, artillery, and rocket fire on a daily basis. I had stopped thinking of home, despite the occasional care package my folks sent me. It reminded that there was a safe, orderly place that I could possibly inhabit made the hellhole I was in even worse. I longed to be able to stroll down to the sugar bowl, purchase a milkshake, sit at the counter, and leisurely sip heaven through a straw. My friends would be there. We would laugh, tell jokes, flirt with the fine young ladies in miniskirts. The air conditioning would be on while we planned where we were going to drink, smoke pot, and dance the weekend away. But I had to stay alive in order to do that. Best not to think about home when we were putting rounds downrange during a fire mission or scrambling for shelter when incoming rounds were whistling our name. I had made it out alive and in one piece. I was going home. Oh boy, oh joy. However, the welcome home did not meet my expectations. Not one cab would take me home from the airport 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was going to Brooklyn, and I was Black. So I waited 2 hours for the early morning bus to go to the subway. Wait was excruciating. The 2 hour, oh, here I am. My dress greens and duffel bag elicited no response from the passenger on the A train as we roared toward Brooklyn. I was bone tired, yet excited, as I walked the 8 blocks through the concrete jungle that led to the projects where I lived. I could barely contain my excitement. As I rode the elevator to the 8th floor and knocked on the door of apartment 8A, no answer. I knocked repeatedly, no avail. It was 8 a.m. and the projects were coming alive. The sun was shining, the early rising neighbors were out and about. It was exhilarating to stand in front of the building and talk with folks I knew while growing up. No one asked me, how was Vietnam? They were just glad to see me, and I was joyously pleased to see them. It was 10 a.m. before my younger brother finally awakened me and opened the door. No, he finally awakened. My parents had gone on vacation, and he was the only one there out partying all night long. Wouldn't answer the door. Okay. He finally opened the door. When I walked through the door, he gave me a big hug and handed me a joint. My soul soared as I gratefully realized I'd finally made it home.